in education or lack thereof. But we want to put the spotlight on Tunisia tonight, where anti-Semitism is simply part of the curriculum. Marcus Shef, CEO of Impact SC, thank you so very much for joining us. And Mr. Shef, tell us more about your finding, about your research, defining what do you mean by textbook anti-Semitism, quite literally?
Well, quite literally, Ellie, thank you. So Impact SC, as you say, the Institute for Monitoring Peace and Cultural Tolerance in School Education, has published a new report on Tunisian school textbooks. So that is examining 80 textbooks from the national school curriculum, spans grades 1 to 13 of humanity subjects. So that's essentially the whole humanity curriculum for what the Americans would call K-12. And I must say, the Tunisian curriculum is deeply frustrating. Improvements that were made, and there were real improvements made in this curriculum, they just do not extend to Jews and to Israel. So this curriculum, and it does need to be said, it champions modern enlightened values. It loudly celebrates gender equality, it condemns racism, it encourages civic duty, tolerance, and peaceful dialogue, all really important things. But as the expression goes, Jews do not count in all of this forward momentum. In fact, really far from it. Just to give you an example, or several examples. Zionism is smeared as a colonialist plot. Israel is rarely acknowledged as a state. Palestinian terrorism, and this is really frightening, is glorified. The Holocaust barely whispered about, and anti-Semitic imagery and rhetoric remain embedded across subjects and across grades.
So Mr. Shef, when it is so deep-rooted, what can be done? Where do you even start?
Well, I think a great deal can be done, and we have seen this in other countries where we have worked. There, first of all, needs to be the information available. That is to say, a full report which is made available, and that we have done. There needs to be policy recommendations made, and that we have done too. And then clearly there needs to be engagement. Now, that might be direct, that might be indirect, but you will be surprised at how many curricula are reformed on the basis of information reaching curriculum services. That the curriculum is full of really problematic material. Since the overthrow of the authoritarian regime in 2011, that of Ben Ali, Tunisia has viewed itself as a real example of progress in the region. But the values that it proudly promotes, can't be selectively applied. So, imagine that you consider yourself a leader in enlightened values. It's rather embarrassing that your curriculum is full of really terrible anti-Semitism. Jews are mentioned as a minority group within Tunisia, including the Jewish presence in places like Jerba. But they're presented also through really harmful, terrible anti-Semitic tropes, including depictions of Jews as
women's
exploiters.
rights, minority rights, relevant only when we're not talking about the Jews.